In the last 24 months, something strange has been happening in the global silver market. While the world was distracted by inflation, interest rates, and geopolitical conflicts, a silent rush has been underway. For the third consecutive year, the silver market is in a structural deficit, meaning demand is outstripping new supply by hundreds of millions of ounces. The vaults of major exchanges like the COMEX and the London Bullion Market Association are being drained at a rate not seen in decades. Registered inventory, the silver actually available for delivery, has plummeted, and most people haven't noticed. This isn't a story about a speculative bubble or a new investment trend. This is a story about a pattern that has repeated itself throughout history, right before major monetary shifts. This is the story of the silent silver rush and what it signals about the future of money. To understand why silver is disappearing, you first have to understand that silver is not just a precious metal. It is a strategic asset with a dual identity. On one hand, it is a critical, irreplaceable industrial commodity. Your phone, your computer, your car, the solar panels that power your home, they all need silver. It is the most electrically conductive and thermally conductive metal on Earth, and modern technology is impossible without it. Every year, over 50% of the world's silver supply is consumed by industry, and this demand is growing exponentially. The green energy transition in particular is a massive driver. A single solar panel requires about 20 grams of silver. A single electric vehicle can contain up to 50 grams. As the world moves towards decarbonization, the demand for industrial silver is set to explode. The Silver Institute projects that industrial demand will reach a new record this year, driven by a massive expansion in solar panel production and the global 5G rollout. This isn't speculative demand, it's structural. It's baked into the future of our technological infrastructure. On the other hand, silver has been money for 5,000 years. For most of human history, it was the primary medium of exchange, the money of the people. Gold was the money of kings and empires. Silver was the money of everyday life, the metal you used to buy bread, to pay your taxes, to save for the future. This monetary role is deeply embedded in our language and our culture. The word for money in many languages, from the French argent to the Spanish plata, is the same as the word for silver. The US Coinage Act of 1792 originally defined the dollar in terms of silver, not gold. This dual identity is what makes silver unique. It is both a store of value with a 5,000-year history and a critical industrial input with exploding demand. And right now, both of those functions are under extreme pressure. The silent rush for silver is being driven by two main forces: a surge in industrial demand and a quiet but accelerating move by governments and central banks to diversify their reserves. The industrial demand is easy to understand. The green energy transition is not a choice, it is a global imperative. But the monetary demand is more subtle and more significant. In a world of increasing geopolitical instability, the weaponization of the dollar, and unsustainable levels of government debt, central banks are quietly losing faith in paper currencies. They are preparing for a world where the dollar is no longer the undisputed king of currencies. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it is a strategic reality. They are not just buying silver, they are buying insurance. While gold gets the headlines, silver is being accumulated quietly, often through state-owned enterprises and sovereign wealth funds, because it is more affordable, more versatile, and has a much tighter physical market. But the story gets even more interesting when you look at where the silver is coming from. The world's largest silver reserves are not in China or Russia, they are in Mexico and Peru. Mexico alone holds over 37% of the world's known silver reserves. Peru holds another 21%. Together, these two countries control nearly 60% of the world's silver, and this is where the geopolitics of silver gets really interesting. The United States, which has been a net importer of silver for decades, is now looking to secure its own supply. The US Geological Survey has officially classified silver as a critical mineral, essential for national security and economic prosperity. There are growing concerns in Washington that China's growing influence in Latin America could threaten America's access to this critical strategic metal. China, through its Belt and Road Initiative, has been making significant investments in mining and infrastructure projects in both Mexico and Peru, securing long-term supply agreements. The race to control the world's silver is not just about money, it is about power. It is about securing the resources needed to build the technologies of the future and to maintain economic and military dominance. This isn't the first time we have seen a silent rush for silver. History is filled with examples of silver disappearing from circulation right before a major monetary crisis. In the final decades of the Roman Empire, the silver content of the denarius, the main Roman coin, was steadily reduced as the government struggled to pay for its wars and its welfare programs. As the coins were debased, people began to hoard the older, purer silver coins, an example of Gresham's law: bad money drives out good. Silver disappeared from circulation, a clear signal that the public was losing faith in the currency. A similar pattern occurred in the Weimar Republic in the 1920s. As the government printed money to pay its war debts, inflation spiraled out of control. People rushed to exchange their worthless paper marks for anything of real value, especially silver. Silver coins vanished from circulation, a desperate attempt by ordinary people to protect their savings from the ravages of hyperinflation. In both cases, the disappearance of silver was not the cause of the crisis, it was a symptom. It was a signal that the system was breaking. So, what does the silent silver rush of today signal about our own monetary system? It signals that the smart money, the governments, the central banks, the industrial giants, is quietly preparing for a world with more inflation, more geopolitical instability, and less trust in paper currencies. They are not making public announcements. They are not trying to cause a panic. They are simply acting in their own self-interest, based on their assessment of the risks. They are diversifying their assets, securing their supply chains, and hedging their bets. They are doing what any rational actor would do in a world of increasing uncertainty. The silent silver rush is not a prediction of a specific crisis. It is a reflection of a general loss of faith. It's a loss of faith in the idea that our paper money will hold its value. A loss of faith in the idea that our governments can manage their debts. A loss of faith in the idea that the current system is sustainable. This brings us to the core of the issue. The silent silver rush is not about silver, it is about trust. For the past 50 years, the world has been operating on a system of pure fiat money, a system based on nothing but trust in the governments that issue the currency. That trust is now eroding. The unprecedented levels of debt, the endless money printing, the weaponization of the dollar, all of these have weakened the foundations of the system. The silent silver rush is simply one of the first visible cracks in the dam. It is a quiet vote of no confidence in the future of fiat money. It is a signal that the rules of the game are about to change. If you think the world is becoming more stable, this channel isn't for you. If you want to understand the hidden forces that are reshaping our financial world, stay here. Subscribe. Next, we will explore the secret agreement that created the petrodollar and how its unraveling could trigger the next global energy crisis. Let's delve deeper into the historical precedents. The debasement of currency is a tale as old as empires. In the 16th century, Spain, flooded with silver from its New World colonies, experienced a period of immense wealth known as the Spanish Golden Age. However, the constant wars and lavish spending of the Spanish monarchy led to a gradual debasement of their silver coins. As the silver content dwindled, the Spanish people lost faith in their money, leading to economic stagnation and the eventual decline of the Spanish Empire. The pattern is always the same: a period of unsustainable spending, followed by currency debasement, a loss of public trust, and an inevitable economic decline. The silent rush for physical silver today is a modern echo of this ancient pattern. The geopolitical dimension of the current silver rush cannot be overstated. The United States' reliance on foreign sources for critical minerals is a major strategic vulnerability. The recent tensions with China have highlighted the fragility of global supply chains. A conflict over Taiwan, for example, could instantly cut off America's access to a vast array of electronic components, many of which rely on silver. This is why the US government is now actively encouraging domestic mining and processing of critical minerals, including silver. But this is a long and difficult process. It can take over a decade to bring a new mine into production. In the meantime, The race to secure existing supplies will only intensify. The battle for the 21st century will not just be fought with soldiers and ships, it will be fought with supply chains and strategic resources. And silver is at the heart of this new great game. What does this mean for the average person? It means that the financial landscape is becoming more complex and more uncertain. The era of a single, dominant global currency is likely coming to an end. We are moving towards a more multipolar world, with multiple competing currencies and economic blocs. In this world, physical assets like gold and silver will likely play a more important role as a store of value and a hedge against inflation and geopolitical risk. This is not to say that the dollar is going to collapse tomorrow. The transition to a new monetary system will likely be a long and messy process, but the direction of travel is clear. The silent silver rush is a powerful signal that the tectonic plates of the global financial system are shifting. Those who understand this shift will be better prepared for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. Those who ignore it will be at the mercy of forces they do not understand. The story of silver is the story of money. It is a story of trust and betrayal, of power and decline, of empires won and lost. The silent silver rush of today is the latest chapter in this long and fascinating story. It is a story that is still being written, and the final chapter is yet to be determined. But one thing is certain, the world of money is changing, and silver is once again at the center of the storm. Let's break down the industrial demand further, because this is not a small factor. It is the engine driving the structural deficit. Silver's unique atomic structure gives it the highest electrical and thermal conductivity of any metal. In a solar panel, it acts as a conductive paste that collects the electrons generated by photovoltaic cells and channels them into the electrical system. There is currently no viable substitute that offers the same efficiency and durability. As the world scrambles to meet climate targets, the demand for solar panels is projected to double and then double again. This means the demand for silver from this sector alone could consume a significant portion of the world's annual mining output within a decade. In electric vehicles, silver is used in countless electrical contacts, switches, and battery components, ensuring reliability and safety. In 5G technology, it is essential for high-frequency connectors and semiconductors. The key takeaway is this: the future of our green energy infrastructure and our digital communication network is built on a foundation of silver. The geopolitical chess match over silver is intensifying daily. China's strategy is a masterclass in long-term resource acquisition. Through state-owned enterprises like China Minmetals and Zijin Mining, Beijing has been securing offtake agreements and direct equity stakes in major mining operations across Latin America. These are not just commercial deals, they are strategic partnerships that give China priority access to the physical metal, often bypassing the open market entirely. For the United States, this represents a slow-motion strategic crisis. The Department of Defense has repeatedly warned that reliance on foreign adversaries for critical minerals is a severe national security risk. A future conflict could see China restrict silver exports, crippling America's ability to produce everything from fighter jets to advanced missile guidance systems. The scramble for silver is, therefore, a new front in the ongoing economic Cold War between the US and China. It's a quiet battle, fought in boardrooms and mining contracts, but its consequences will be felt on the battlefields of the future. Consider another historical parallel, the decline of the British pound in the 20th century. After World War I, Britain attempted to return the pound to the gold standard at its pre-war parity, an act of pure economic vanity. To defend this overvalued exchange rate, the Bank of England was forced to keep interest rates high, crushing domestic industry. Meanwhile, the country was saddled with enormous war debts. The result was a decade of economic stagnation known as the British disease. The smart money of the era, including a young John Maynard Keynes, saw the writing on the wall. They moved their assets out of the pound and into dollars or gold. When the final crisis came in 1931, Britain was forced to devalue, and those who had held on to the pound lost a significant portion of their wealth. The pattern is eerily familiar: a dominant but indebted empire, an overvalued currency, and a rising economic challenger. The silent rush for silver today is the modern equivalent of the quiet flight from the pound in the 1920s. To truly grasp the fragility of the modern silver market, one must understand the mechanics of the paper market. The vast majority of silver trading does not involve physical metal. It is a market of futures contracts, ETFs, and other derivatives traded on exchanges like the COMEX. For every 1 ounce of physical silver held in these vaults, there can be hundreds of paper claims to that same ounce. This system works as long as only a small fraction of claim holders ever demand physical delivery. But what happens when that changes? What happens when industrial users, central banks, and large investors all decide they want the real thing, not the paper promise? This is the scenario that keeps market insiders awake at night. A run on the vaults, similar to a bank run, could cause the paper market to collapse, leading to a massive price spike and a scramble for the few remaining ounces of physical metal. The draining of registered inventory at the COMEX is a warning sign that this process may have already begun. The silent silver rush is a flight from paper promises to physical reality.